presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
Perfect day in downtown St. Louis for afternoon baseball. Cardinals just trying to win one game on this homestand. It wraps up today against the Chicago Cubs. Mike Matheny, one thing that he likes to do before the game is thorough batting practice. He did that this afternoon, and Matt Carpenter is in the lineup. He'll play third base with David Freese on the bench. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Welcome to baseball here on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest with Al Hrabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. And Al, it's been a disappointing homestand, no doubt. I think the one thing you have to look at this year that has been a disappointment so far, the play at home. The Cardinals only 8-8 here at Busch Stadium.
Very true. And I think what's happening in this homestand, and really if you go back to the Cardinals have lost 5 straight ball games at home, is the starting pitching. Is it a little hiccup? Not going deep into ball games, not being as dominant as they were a little bit earlier in the season, but those things will take care of itself. It's a long season.
And that's the positive thing, too, is that you have to look at it. It is a very long season, 162, and they hope to turn it around today. Last night, this may have been the play of the game. We'll break it down. So many things have to go right. It did for the Cubs. We'll talk about it when we come back. Cardinals and Cubs. Cardinals trying to salvage a game in this series and this homestand. Last night, a play at the plate really defined the game, Al.
Yadier Molina drives the ball out into left center. Campana with his great speed cuts it off, hits the cutoff man. Castro with perfect timing fires to the plate. Soto has just enough time to prepare for the collision, and they throw out the tying run at the plate. Let's take a look at it from this angle. As Campana gets over, he's playing out into right center. He cuts it off. Now you can see they're lined up perfectly. Shortstop, then second baseman. He hits the cutoff man, and Castro, with his strong arm, fires to the plate. David freezes out. You never blame Oquendo for being aggressive. You always want to force things at this level. Most of the time, they will not execute.
Down St. Louis and Busch Stadium. There are 5 new managers. Some of these guys have had experience doing this, but 2 of them, no managerial experience whatsoever. That's Robin Ventura and Mike Matheny. And out of these 5, Mike Matheny's off to a good start.
Redbirds are 20-15. They have lost 4 straight, but at the helm, Mike Matheny has done everything very, very well. Very interesting. You look at the 5, the different personalities, and a lot of controversy come with Guillen and Bobby Valentine.
Cardinals will see Robin Ventura and the White Sox in interleague play. Dale Swaim is here today. It's Matt Holliday making some friends. A look at Kyle Loesch when we come back. man statue just outside the main entrance to Busch Stadium. Big crowd here today. Kyle Loesch, last time he faced the Chicago Cubs was in September of last year. Al, one of the defining games of the great comeback of the St. Louis Cardinals of 2011.
Well, Kyle pitched very well in that ball game. 7 innings, 1 earned run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. But it took some dramatics at the end for the Cardinals to pull it out. Carlos Marmol self-destructed with a wild pitch, a walk-off as Adron Chambers came around to score the winning run in a 2-1 victory.
Loesch has been outstanding this year, 5-1 with an ERA barely over 2. He gets the start this afternoon. First pitch, starting lineups. They'll come your way next. Brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. What a gorgeous afternoon here in the Gateway City, St. Louis, Missouri, as the Cubs and Cardinals wrap up their 2-game set. It's De Jesus, Campana, and Castro, followed by Laher, Soriano, Ian Stewart. Wellington Castillo is the backup catcher. He'll get the start today. Darwin Barney and Paul Mahalam is on the mound. And for St. Louis, it'll be Kyle Loesch, the right-hander, who's off to a very good start.
Team leading 8 start today, first of the season against the Cubbies. He is tied for second in the National League with his 5 wins, 10th in ERA at 2.08, and he really does not walk that many, just a little over 1.5. David Freese is now playing third base. There was nothing wrong with David. It's just Mike Matheny wanted to get Matt Carpenter in the lineup. David, of course, was lobbying to be in there, and I guess one of them won. David's playing.
David De Jesus leads it off. Remember, we came back from the road trip. It was an off day, and then the next night, David did not make the start, so it would have been only playing in 3 of the 5 games, and there's a leadoff base hit during this homestand. De Jesus is aboard. That's how we start the afternoon. So Carpenter moves from third to first, and Lance Berkman, I don't see him out there, Al, so he must be in the dugout. And there's no DH.
No DH. There he is. Well, like we said, people think it's going to be a problem trying to find playing time for 4 players, and sometimes it takes care of themselves.
That slapped the other way, and a base hit for Campana. The first 2 have reached against Kyle Loesch. Take a look at our Fox tracks, and that's brought to you by Chevy. Campana looked to be an inside-out swing. Just slapped it the other way.
Well, you know, he kind of shows bunt, so David Freese comes in, then he pulls it back. Ball was running in on him. That's why it was the awkward swing, but effectively placing it down the left field line.
I don't think that we're going to see Starlin Castro bunt here in the first like we did late in the game last night, and Dale Swaim was questioned about it after the game and again this morning.
And rightfully so. And I can understand that they've had trouble scoring runs, but kind of one of the comments was that Castro's had trouble scoring runs, but if you look at the numbers, it really is to the contrary. He's been one of the biggest hitting machines. He's been driving in runs lately, and he ended up bunting into a double play, and the Cardinals looked like they were going to get out of that inning.
Castro hits one foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. He's batting .333 on the year. He does have 1 home run. He's driven in 21. And on this trip, it's a short trip for Chicago with just the 2 games here in St. Louis. It's 5 games. As a team, they've hit .275. They've scored 23 runs. So offense has not been an issue whatsoever. Prior to this stop in town, they were in Milwaukee. Dropped 2 of 3. 1 ball, 1 strike. You think about why the Cardinals, Al, have struggled at home. 5 straight losses, including 4 during this homestand. And it's pretty simple. You look at the starters' ERA, it's near 7. Relievers' ERA is 5.66.
No, not much better. And we always talk about how starting pitching sets the tone, and they're in a little hiccup, and that even carries back to the last homestand.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Castro, the check swing. It's a base hit into center field. De Jesus will score. Chicago with a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. 3 consecutive singles. Castro is 22nd, driven in. So it's a different look defensively with the late changes for Mike Matheny's club. Let's take a look at the defense. Presentation of Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Matt Holliday, Skip Schumacher, and Alan Craig. Those 3 in the outfield. Freese is at third now for College short. Green at second. Carpenter moves from third to first. Yadier Molina's behind the plate. On the mound, Kyle Loesch. And that's brought to you by Dobbs.
And you mentioned that Schumacher playing center field as John Jay was put on the disabled list, and Shane Robinson has been recalled. Campana looking at trying to run the ball in on him and just kind of fights it off and shoots there. Here he almost a check swing, but effectively back up the middle. 3 straight base hits off of Kyle Loesch, and Ryan LaHare has been a thorn in the Cardinals' side all season long.
He has 4 home runs against St. Louis, 4 of his 9. A 2-run homer last night. He had 3 base hits. He came into the series not playing well as far as his offense is concerned. There's a look at his numbers. Getting a chance to play and show what he can do with the Cubs this year.
He was just 1 for 14 until going 3 for 4 last night.
Right now for Mike Matheny, it's concerns of just trying to win games, but making sure that you stay healthy. John Jay, as you mentioned, now on the DL. You're a little concerned about Berkman, why he was taken out of this game before it even started. And then you also have Beltran, your player of the week in the National League, 2nd consecutive game that he does not start. Did pinch hit last night. And that's out at first and a tag at second for the double play. Carpenter gets the 2 outs. A run does score, and it's 2-0 Cubs.
We do say that that Beltran will be back tomorrow in the lineup, and just a little precautionary, give him one more day off. Here you go. Carpenter steps on the bag. Now you must tag him. And Raphael does so, but they do pick up the second run.
Did
a
you
do-over.
think, Al, that Carpenter was hit so sharply, even with the speed of Campana, could have fired home and maybe saved a run? Or do you want to just, because it's early, get the 2 outs?
Get the 2 outs. Cardinals have had great success against Mahalam, even though he's on quite a roll right now. 4-game winning streak and an ERA just over 1 during that time.
Alfonso Soriano is now 4 for 8 with 4 RBIs when batting with 2 outs in the 8th inning or later this year. He got the Cardinals last night, and he also did it earlier this season on a rocket that was hit towards Tyler Green. He couldn't come up with it, and a walk-off win.
Just looking defensively, David Freese really hugging the line.
And why that is surprising with Soriano, those good numbers last year in those spots, late situations, 4 for 27 with only 4 RBIs.
See David very close to the third base line.
Soriano still looking for his first home run. He's driven in 17.
Pitching inside, set up inside, and the ball was away.
Carpenter is over near the crowd and out of room. Had a guy that made the start for the Cubs that you think about, Al, and Ryan Dempster, who just turned 35. You have Soriano, a couple of years left on his deal. I'm sure if the Cubs could deal him the way that they've cleared salary, they would love to do it, but they'd have to pick up a bunch of it. In the air out to deep right field. That's trouble. Craig won't get to it. Few hops and it's to the wall, and Soriano will stop at second base. Soriano is a guy that used to be a 40-40 man, but if you're watching this, you wouldn't think so.
Not at all.
Watch him run here.
Yeah, look at it. Just almost like a false step in there. Thinks about going, but you know, that body just doesn't want to move. Wiry body, and like you said, it used to be a 40-40 man, and it came to the Cubs, and the fans are going, where are the 40 home runs? Where are the 40 steals?
And why is he not at third? I mean, you would think that was a triple all the way.
Should have been.
Here's Ian Stewart. That drops in for a hit, and it's 3-0 Chicago. Soriano scores easily. That's 5 base hits against Kyle Loesch here in the top of the first.
Right off the end of the bat, and it carries out there. Watch this ball. And Skip almost took a more direct route, and it took a high hop, almost got by him. But he got back in and holds him to a single.
4-0 in April, the 1.62 ERA. Different story, though, in May. Wellington Castillo is batting 176. Fouls the first pitch back.
Right now, they're just up there teeing off. Very comfortable in the batter's box. A few balls haven't been hit particularly hard, but now they're going up there very confident.
Short lead at first by Stewart. This is the first time that the Cardinals under Mike Matheny have faced some adversity as far as in terms of wins and losses. They've hit a rut right now, and coming off the sweep against Arizona, you thought the momentum was going to carry over for a big homestand. Crowds of over 40,000 each night. That has not been the case, and they trail in this ball game 3-0.
Mike will tell you it's a long season, and he's absolutely right there. No one's going to feel sorry for the reigning world champions. You just have to fight your way out of it.
The 0-2 pitch to Castillo. Popped up. Craig is there and makes the catch. Dale Swaim and the Cubs jumping out to an early lead here in the first inning on Fox Sports Midwest. Lead it off, then Schumacher and Holiday. Craig, Freeze, Molina, Carpenter, Green, and Loesch. Mike Matheny's lineup. Well, we've seen this guy a bunch when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates and now with the Chicago Cubs. Lefty Mahalam, 6 starts, a record of 4-2, despite the high ERA. Baseball's a cruel game sometimes, Al. You look at Ryan Dempster as the best ERA in baseball going into his start last night. No wins, and Mahalam is over 4, and yet he has 4 wins. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but that's baseball.
Well, it does in a sense, Dan, because he has earned those 4 straight victories. Start out 0-2, ERA up there, but in his 4-game winning streak, he's got the ERA at 1.07, driving it down to 4.
So I guess I would say then they better score some runs for Ryan Dempster, which they did do last night. But Dempster took the no decision. And Sean Camp gave them 2 scoreless innings, pitched well out of the bullpen. And that was one of the differences in the game.
And Mahalam was 0-7 with an ERA at 7 from July 16th of last season to April 15th when the Cardinals beat him up this year. But on the 21st of April, he got his first win, and that really kind of set the tone as the Cubs have played much better baseball since April 21st.
1 ball and 2 strikes on the healthy Rafael Furcal, which is the difference with Furcal this year. The guy that when you show up at the ballpark and he's jumping around and hopping around, literally, you know things are going well for him. He's a player that brings a lot of excitement behind closed doors in the clubhouse, a free spirit, and a very good player.
And his 12-game hitting streak stopped yesterday, and he hit .510 with 2 home runs during that hit streak. .667 last week, 14 for 21.
3-2 pitch. Ouch. Foul ball.
What'd you say about healthy?
Just stay healthy. Just stay healthy.
Fouled that one, and it's barking right now. But
the thing I look at, Al, with any leadoff man, you know, you look at average, you look at home runs, you look at RBIs. Those are the glamorous stats. But a leadoff man, you want to see a high on-base percentage. And you've got that right now with Furcal well above 400. And with his speed, he can be a difference maker. 33 years of age. And he hits a fly ball out to center. Speedy guy in Campana puts it away. A look at the defense behind the lefty today for the Chicago Cubs. Soriano, Campana, and DeJesus in the outfield. Stewart, Castro, Barney, and LaHare along the infield. Behind the plate, Lovington, Castillo. Cubs defense, a presentation of Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Here's Schumacher batting .325, and he jumps up to the second spot in the lineup.
Came through with a big base hit last night. Seemed like wherever you put him, he's going to do the job for you.
Curveball and strike two. We mentioned it last night with the second baseman. And the spots open for Green, Descalso, or Schumacher. No one is really, of the two young guys, taking that and run with it. And so Skip, seeing plenty of playing time, and reaches on the 0-2 pitch. As you talked about, Al, it's our keys to the game and just how well this lefty has pitched. It's brought to you by Toyota.
Turned it around, 4-0, ERA just over 1 during that time, but he knows the Cardinals have beat him up in the past. Former #1 draft pick by Pittsburgh.
Sam Mahalam has shortened up his delivery a little bit. You don't see the long reaching back, so to speak, and then coming towards the plate. It's a little bit quicker. Not to say that he's short arming it, but much different than when he first started in the big leagues with the Pirates. Liner into right and a base hit. They were playing deep for Holiday. The tying run comes to the plate in Allen Craig.
Kind of the slide step as he had Schumacher going back to the bag, but a lot of times you sacrifice going to the plate. And here Holiday makes him pay with a solid hit out to right. Maybe the Cardinals can get something going.
Think about the production. Allen Craig, 11 games, .372 average, but the 5 home runs already, the 16 that he's driven in.
He's homered in 5 times in the last 8 games.
I mentioned this with Rick the other day that we were in Houston when Allen Craig was going up and down, Al, a couple of years ago, from the minor leagues to the big leagues, and you compare that, we see the most RBIs during May, to what he's doing now and the way that he finished up last year, the amount of confidence that he plays with. And he shoots this one into right. That's trouble. It gets down. 1 run is in. That's Schumacher. Craig on his way to second base with a double. Cardinals get on the board, and it's RBI number 17 already for Allen Craig.
Well, I go back to 3 years ago, Mark McGuire's first year with the ball club as a hitting coach, and he just raved about a David Freese and an Allen Craig. I mean, just talked about the potential was so vast, and that these kids really knew what they're doing. One of the great things, both of them can utilize the opposite part of the field, and when you are a pull hitter, you're easy to pitch to. But if you'll spray the ball around, particularly take it to the opposite field, then you really have to pitch. You can't stay in one area.
Ground ball up the middle. They were shading him up the middle. David Freese, late insertion into the lineup, and he picks up the RBI. Cuts a lead to 3-2.
It's going to be one of those games, huh?
I think so. 27 now. Driven in for David Freese. Here's Yadier Molina. I had a conversation now with John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM, about Molina. He said, if I could have every guy in our system, every player that's in uniform, play and think like this guy, he said, I'm not sure we'd ever lose. He said, this guy competes. He said, I'm not sure we talk about it enough. You know, you always hear about the guy that is your pitcher and guts through 6 or 7 innings, or the player that's gutting through injury. He said, I'm not sure we understand how tough and just how good of a baseball player this guy is, and how cerebral of a player he is too.
No doubt about it. And of course, you know, his dad was a great player in Puerto Rico, his brothers, so he's got that pedigree. He's got, you know, the sounding board to go to and to learn from, and obviously by far the best.
Three and 0 with 2 outs and a runner at third. Gap into left center. And that's taken for ball 4.
Well, Mike Matheny wanted Matt Carpenter in this lineup. It's 2 for 2 against Mahalam.
A point that should be brought up here, Al, is that the Cardinals many times this year jumped out to first inning leads. Remember, they had 9 straight games in which they scored in the first inning. And I bring that up to a former pitcher because when you pitch with a lead, a little different than when you're playing catch up.
And most of the time that was when the team was on the road. So by the time, like Mahalam, time you get on the mound, you already got a couple runs to work with. You already have a little cushion. But the last thing you want to do is give it right back.
Carpenter is hitting .274, pair of home runs. He's driven in 17 on limited duty, and much of his damage, like Lahair against St. Louis, Carpenter has been against Chicago. Very good numbers against the Cubs.
And he has the ability to keep that front shoulder in, really have tough at bats against left-handed pitching.
Pops it up into shallow left. Castro going out. He wants it. He's got it. Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up 2. Alan Craig, RBI number 17 already. Cheer or dance teams can perform right here at Busch Stadium. You'll receive discounted tickets for mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Come on out. Group sales at 345-9500, 345-9500. Also, the dynamic deal is out of the week. Tickets as low as $12. The Friday night, the Beer Stein night against the Philadelphia Phillies when we come back home. Now let's go back into something with Yadier Molina and what his experience brings to this team. You get a look at Darwin Barney, but it's calling pitches, something that Mike Matheny knows a thing about too.
Well, Mike Matheny just has so much respect for Yadier Molina, but I heard Mike Matheny on a radio show say something that was so interesting, where he's talking about, you know, we've heard Latin players have an innate ability so much better than the American catchers at calling a game, because a lot of times a youngster that is a catcher playing in the United States never has that opportunity. His high school, his college coach calls every pitch, and Mike Matheny is 1,000% against that. And said if a coach is that good that he can call the game, they should be able to teach his catcher to do it.
A line out two for Kyle. Yeah, you and I were talking about this earlier in the season. Dave Duncan, former catcher, had mentioned it to me, but he felt because these guys understand the game so well, and the fact is that they jump into professional baseball at an early age, that also helps. And so you eliminate the college coach calling all those pitches. And there's a byproduct of that too, Al, and that's the fact that the guy that knows himself the best is standing on the pitching rubber right now. And he understands warming up and doing side sessions, what's working lately. And certainly when Kyle Loesch comes out of that bullpen, every one of those guys will tell you that when they make those warm-up pitches, sometimes a pitch doesn't feel very good that day. You know, trying to locate or the break or whatever the case may be. They're just those kind of days.
Well, there's also, if you've noticed too, Yadier Molina will go down and catch the starter. And so he already has a feel for what is working and what is not working.
Strikeout, and the first of the afternoon for Kyle Loesch.
And one of the other things that Mike Matheny said, that he felt that a lot of American catchers don't fully appreciate or have the pleasure of calling a game, and really felt that one of the most interesting things, and really how a catcher really feels so involved in the game and working with the pitching staff, that he felt like if the catchers were allowed to call their own game, they would be that much more enthused in the position.
2 outs and a strike on De Jesus. As you know, Al, I do a lot of college baseball, and you'll see the catcher actually have a wristband that you would see a quarterback.
Football,
yeah. And the signs are given usually by the head coach / manager, not the pitching coach. Not in all cases, but many, and that's how it's done.
Let me tell you what also happens too, is you're out there pitching and say, well, I want to throw this, but the coach make me throw that.
Exactly.
So you throw it with half interest.
Two-seamer, four-seamer, sinker, slider, changeup, curveball. You get a good look at that with that super slow-mo camera that we have, the various grips of the pitchers.
Get to see his tattoo.
Absolutely.
These fish hook almost the entire length from elbow to wrist, where he had the surgery a couple of years ago on the forearm.
We've seen wearing this uniform when healthy, very effective.
No doubt about it.
A 3-2 pitch. Went down to get it, and a fly ball to left. Holiday makes the catch in a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Loesch. Tyler Green leads it off when we return. app, and you can get this for the 2012 season. Text @BAT to 31826. No matter where you travel, you're in the airport, hotel room, boardroom. Sitting here with Al, sometimes we'll call up baseball games that we're watching on our
Blackouts
iPads.
do apply.
Some do. Some do. But, hey, that's a base hit off the bat of Tyler Green. He's off to the races. Tyler Green came in 1 for his last 19 since the 2-home run afternoon at Houston. That day he was 3 for 3 with a pair of home runs, so now 2 for his last 20.
First baseman LaHare way off the line. Look at that snaking action coming off the bat. Oh, just kind of slice into foul territory. Not sure he meant to hit the ball that way, but effectively stays inside the bag, and a double, and Kyle Loesch can help his own cause.
Showing bunt, and it's inside for a ball.
Kyle wants to bunt it down the third base line hard enough to get it by the pitcher, where the third baseman will have to field it, and Tyler Green can just walk on down to third base. Gotta watch right now. If he gets in too much further, he might try and steal that bag.
Two and 0. Cardinals starting play today. Game and a half in front of Cincinnati. Reds have won 2 in a row. They'll be at Atlanta later tonight. Bunts it to third. Sacrifice is good. Advancing Green to third.
Yes, absolutely perfect. Bunted it hard enough where the only one that can field it is the third baseman, so he has to vacate the bag, and nobody over at third base, so Tyler Green just gets on over with a perfect execution by Loesch.
Here's Rafael Furcal, runner at third. That's the tying run. The go-ahead run at the plate. Furcal first time up, flied out to center. Cardinals last year, the leadoff spot rotated between 8 different players. There's no consistency at the top of the lineup. Brian Terrio had the most appearances as the leadoff man.
Average right there with runners in scoring position. 13 RBIs, 344 on the season, 367. 16 RBIs, and doing quite the job out of that leadoff spot and driving in runs. And John Jay, who was placed on the disabled list, he really, hit well over 300 since coming back, when he injured that shoulder, but got a cortisone shot. Now the pain is returned. There you see, that last swing was the difference between a switch hitter that is his natural side is the right side, and that's where his power is, and left-handed just a slap hitter. But he gave it a ride on that one swing.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat, it looks like. Little squibber. Furcal is out at first, but he drives in the run. He puts it in play. We're tied up at 3-3.
That swing again is kind of hit it off the end of the bat, or was he jammed so much inside, almost self-defense? They're trying to pitch him in. And look at that. He did hit it right off the end of the bat. Somehow, some way, and gets a 17th RBI and a tie score. Zeb Schumacher, who got the first Cardinal hit and came around to score the first run.
Schumacher reached on an 0-2 pitch. Falls behind here, nothing in 2, and that caught the hand of the catcher, bare hand, throwing hand of the backup. He says he's all right. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Skip. Fouled back, trying to go inside, it looked like, on a fastball at 90 miles an hour.
Just a little difference in Holland's delivery, and it looks much sharper as he kind of a little more deception. Looks like he's sneaky fast.
Skip waves at it and he strikes out. 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Cardinals, though, tie it up 3-3 after 2. Brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. Tony Campana leads it off, and it's a strike from Kyle Loesch. Jim Hayes has joined us here in the 3rd inning. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Matt Hungarian is with us as well. Al Raboski. Strike 2 to Campana. And we were just talking about it, Jim, but Shane Robinson has been recalled and John Jay is on the DL.
John Jay had that shoulder, that right shoulder issue from when he crashed into the wall and got the injection. Actually got on a hot streak offensively after it, tried to play through it. But he said about a week ago he realized whatever the effects of the shot were, they wore off.
Molina is saying that it hit the bat and it's a foul ball. Campana hit the dirt. And will they ask the third base umpire for any help here or anybody else? It's a strikeout, I believe.
He's bunting.
Yeah.
And then it hits Molina in the knee, kind of maybe wedged right in between the little flaps in the knee. So it's a strikeout. You know, Swain is going to ask about it.
And that is the second strikeout for Kyle Loesch. The home plate umpire is the crew chief, and he's been around a long time, Ed Rapuano.
Swain's trying to say he wasn't bunting or he pulled the bat back, and they may ask for help, and that's all that Cubs manager is seeking.
Dale Swaim is the 52nd manager in the Chicago Cubs history. He replaces Mike Quade. Quade still had a year left on his deal, is out of baseball right now.
Let me ask you, does that include the college of coaches that at one time the Cubs tried to do something revolutionary as they took turns with all their coaches taking a turn as manager. And Lou Brock was telling me that, you know, that was when he was a young player, and he said every time we had the coach became the manager, they all had a different system they wanted me to go through. And he said I'd be there for 3 hours before a game, worn out, and then I'd have to play the game as everyone was trying to, and they wanted him to be a home run hitter. And when he came to the Cardinals, they said, we want you to be a base stealer. He said, you don't want me to be a home run hitter? No, we want you to be a base stealer. We got a home run hitter. He goes, okay.
Fly ball to center. Schumacher is there for out number 2. Shane Robinson, as you reported, Jim, is a new dad. And it's probably not an easy thing for him to do, especially on the way down to Memphis. A little easier coming back up to St. Louis, but he's been pretty busy.
Well, his wife and baby stayed in St. Louis, so he wasn't apart from them very long. Played 1 game in Memphis. His bags didn't make it, though, back from Memphis.
You told me you were in charge of that.
I was in charge. I dropped the ball, Al.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Jim is on the road trip with us to San Francisco and Los Angeles. Only 5 games to head out to the West Coast.
He still hadn't figured out what glove he'll use if he's called into action today. He said he'll just go around the clubhouse and see if there's somebody's glove that fits. He had no clothes, lost his equipment bag, or the airline did. Had some bats here that he had left here, so that's good.
Well, you got Matt Carpenter, who carries a first baseman's mitt, infielder's glove, outfielder's glove. I'm sure Shane would be just fine figuring out what glove it is as long as he's in the lineup in the major leagues.
And I'm sure Rip Rowan and staff have already contacted Rawlings, so he'll be in good shape.
Hard hit to first, and Carpenter will take it. 1-2-3 inning for Loesch. Big bats coming up. Holiday, Craig, and Freeze. FoxSportsMidwest.com. That's presented by Jack in the Box. Lots of good stuff. The website, player features, the profiles, and get you caught up with everything happening with the teams you love. That's the way to do it. Come on over, play hooky.
Not horse hooky, is it?
Nope. I wonder if those guys want to be on camera, because they're supposed to be, I would assume, at work. And yet we put them on camera and get in trouble.
There was, what, 4 of them? Someone would notice 4 guys not at the office.
I think
right?
Jim ought to go down and interview them, ask them where the boss is.
Now their phones are going to start going off.
They could look a little happier about not being at work.
You got a problem with those guys, Jim? Or, I mean,
No,
what's
that's
the
Al's
issue?
job. That's Al's job to instigate.
How about it? He just comes in here and starts taking shots, Al.
That's it. Kind of cheap shots, too.
Just missed outside, 3-1. We saw in the game last night that Mitchell Boggs, we talked a little bit about this. You see the pitch just missing, but 46 pitches last night, Jim, for Mitchell Boggs. And coming out of the bullpen for him, that's a career high. We've seen him go deeper into games as a starter with more than 46, but not as a reliever.
He's pitched a lot of late in May, not as successful as he was in April. His ERA in April, 9 appearances, an ERA of under 1 for May, 6 appearances, 6.35. Mike Matheny calls some of it buzzard's luck, meaning there were some bloops against him and balls that snuck through the infield, but certainly you would think Boggs has been taxed a little too much.
Fly ball off the end of the bat to center. Holiday is the first out.
And he did shave his beard. The homage to Rutherford B. Hayes is gone.
Trying to change up that luck, huh? Here's Alan Craig with Freeze to follow. If you're just joining us, it's day baseball from St. Louis. Cubs and Cardinals wrapping up brief 2-game set. We'll be in Chicago 3 different times this year. We were already there at Wrigley, where it was chilly 3-game series. Cardinals dropped 2 of 3. And the first series between the 2 teams at Busch Stadium was a cool weekend. Cardinals won 2 of 3. But the weather in this homestand and today is ideal.
It's amazing how, thinking about Boggs shaving, ball players are so superstitious, but they'll change things if things are not going in the right direction real quickly.
Did you ever take off the Fu Manchu, Al, or was that always going to be with you?
No, I did when I was a player. I was going through bad times, and I was forced to one time.
The lovable Vern Rapp.
That's your guy.
And I mean, I didn't have any problems shaving at that time because, you know, that's what the rules were. And actually, we had some young players that got red fired and really kind of didn't quite understand that, you know, you got to play the game first and then you can have fun. And so to bring in a quote unquote disciplinarian, you know, it did have some merit for some of the younger players, but the facial hair became such a distraction for everybody, and it just.
It's a bullet into left field. Base hit for Craig, his second of the afternoon. Well, I'm assuming, Al, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you went to Atlanta, you signed a big free agency deal. Ted Turner probably welcomed having everything that encompasses the Mad Hungarian. He wanted that character on his team.
Yeah, it was kind of like when Andy Messersmith signed the first free agent contract with him. I'm trying to think. I think TBS was channel 14 back then. And instead of putting Messersmith was 14. And instead of putting Messerschmitt on the back of his jersey, he wanted Channel 14.
Channel 14.
Which was, I think, the TBS, you know, number.
It's like Todd that runs around with the microphone here at the ballpark. His name on the back is That One Guy. Hey, you're that one guy. Well, maybe Ted was just ahead of his time in that regard, too. Marketing on the front of the jerseys and the back.
Well compensating his players.
It was interesting.
I bet you had a lot of fun with him, though.
Coming from Gussie Busch and Mr. Kaufman, you know, with Kansas City, to see Ted Turner was it was quite the opposite.
Was Jane Fonda around much?
Oh, no. I was, that was 10 years later.
Okay. Hit sharply to short. A flip to second. Out there, and it's a double play. Double play off the bat of David Freese, and the third inning comes to a close.
The bakers are there early, way early. They start about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so you can have fresh donuts every day. Some stores, other competition, make their donuts at a plant and then ship them to the store. But that's not what they do at Schnucks. Their donuts are made fresh right in the store every day just for you. Choose from more than 20 varieties of bigger, fresher, better donuts from Schnucks. That's the Schnucks difference.
Schnucks difference maker is Alan Craig. 2 for 2, pair of hits, double, single, and RBI.
I bet you didn't know that Schnucks has a donut of the month either, Dan. This year it's the Princess Donut. Kind of reminds me of the cat.
With the Princess Donut.
Yeah, it's pink icing, colorful sprinkles. It's on a stick. Kind of reminds me of that pink of cat.
Here's Alfonso Soriano. Carpenter over, leans in, and off the glove. Nearly a great play by Carpenter.
Well, if you got that far and you reach in there, you should make this play. Hyundai will bring you that right in the middle of the glove and pops on out. No doubt it had to go a long way, but he got there, and they could give an error on that play, but they don't.
Strikeout of Soriano. He's 1 for 2 with a double. Let's go back to Starlin Castro. This is the play that we highlighted last night. This gives you an idea of the arm strength, the quick exchange and a bullet to the plate. And then tonight, or rather this afternoon, ranging to his left, little flip, soft hands, and that starts the double play.
Well, there's no doubt he is just an exciting player. He can make those kind of plays. Terrific hitter, but sometimes we note, and unfortunately we note, that he gets a little bored playing defense too.
Best way to describe it from a scout was maddening and spectacular. 29 errors a year ago. That led the league. That's the biggest knock on him. The errors were 29, but we forget that last season only 21 years of age and still led the league, the entire league, in hitting as far as total hits are concerned.
Already has 8 errors this season.
2-1 on Ian Stewart. Ground ball to the right side, and there's 2 away. Great promotional weekend is set up for you. Beer Stein night You've got the MLB bag that we'll be giving away when the Phillies are in town. That Saturday night is Adult Cap Night presented by U.S. Cellular. Still seats available for the Adult Cap on Saturday, May 26th.
Kyle Loesch, about 5 hits, 3 runs the first inning, and he's just been on a roll since.
It's 9 straight he has set down after the single by Stewart, an RBI in the first inning. Wellington Castillo, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cubs a year ago, losing season of 71 and 91. It's commonly thought of the fact that they bring in Theo Epstein as the GM. That's not the case. He is the president of baseball operations. Jed Hoyer is the general manager, and those two know each other quite well. Jed was the player development director with Boston. In the 2 years in San Diego, he was the GM. Theo Epstein, 10 years in Boston, 2 World Series titles. Ground ball again, easy play for Green. 1, 2, 3, go the Cubs. Cardinals have Molina, Carpenter, and Tyler Green coming up. They were playing for Chicago this time last season. Carlos Zambrano, ERA is under 2 as he's down with the Marlins. Aramis Ramirez, only 2 home runs. Third baseman, signed a 3-year deal with Milwaukee. Sean Marshall, they traded him away. See, Travis Wood is the guy they got in return. He's in the minor leagues. Marshall, 6 saves. That's the one that surprises me most, Sean Marshall, because he's a guy that fell in love with the city of Chicago. The Cubs, he was originally drafted by them, and Marshall could definitely help them in their bullpen, maybe even the rotation, who knows. But Cincinnati and Walt Jocketty made that deal to get him and immediately extended him at a very fair price, club standard. And there was some in baseball that wondered, why didn't the Cubs approach him and say, what's it going to take to keep you here? What are you looking for to stay in Chicago? But they're cleaning house right now with the Cubs.
Well, and Marshall proved to be one of the best setup men, and particularly from the left side last year. But I think what they were banking on was getting 3 prospects or so in that deal, and they had no idea that Travis Wood would be finding himself in the minor leagues.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Molina, also gone from last year. Andrew Kashner, Tyler Colvin, Marlon Byrd traded about a month ago to the Boston Red Sox. So very much a different looking team this year for the Cubs.
Kashner is, they got the big first baseman
Anthony Rizzo.
And Rizzo, who really, they're going to have to watch out a little bit, because I was looking at his numbers. Big power numbers at AA and AAA, but that's in that, you know, on the West Coast where the ball kind of flies in smaller ballparks. So we'll see if those numbers are a little inflated.
They also have a big-time prospect center fielder, Jackson, that they like. Most around baseball have said he will be a big leaguer, and a very good one. Molina strikes out. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive live coverage of the UEFA Champions League Final. UEFA Champions League Final Saturday at 1, and it's only on Fox. But the lack of return, Al, is what stands out too from the previous regime. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for Jim Henry with the Carlos Zambrano extension. Milton Bradley. Soriano's still here. Kosuke Fukudome gave him a lot of money. That didn't work out.
Really liked Jim Henry and had great respect for him, but some of his deals were hard to kind of explain.
He's now working Brian Cashman and the Yankees. In the air to center. Campana is back and on the track, running up against the wall, and makes the catch. Shown at times he's been that great speed, fearless out there and getting after the baseball.
Hit that wall hard, is barely had a time to kind of put his arms up there. Hyundai will bring you that action. And watch how he hit there, and he's not very big, but I really like the way he plays the game. Speed is a big aspect, and he knows what to do with his speed.
Here's Tyler Green, who doubled down the first base line. 1 for 1. Looks at a strike. Loesch on deck if Green can extend the inning. Home half of the 4th, and we're tied up at 3-3. From the perspective of Theo Epstein, similar situations with franchises that have not won in a long time. When he took over the Boston Red Sox, he was all of 28 years old when he was originally hired. One of the things, though, you forget is that there were some pretty good players on those teams that he walked into. Longest World Series droughts, and the Cubs at 103. Some of those players, Al, like Manny Ramirez and Pedro Martinez, moving into the primes of their career. There's a base hit for Green, second hit.
You're absolutely right. And then they also had a payroll, probably averaged about $170 million through his reign. And so you had the ability to, if you made a mistake, you could cover it up by going and acquiring another player. You won't have that same luxury with the Cubs.
Johnny Damon was not 30 years old yet. Nomar Garciaparra is still very productive at that time. That trade that they made turned out to be a difference maker for them. Two outs, and at least Loesch gets through this order in the home half of the 4th.
Loesch only 1 hit on the season. He got that in Arizona in his last start. He's a little better hitter and athlete than that.
Strikeout of Loesch, and the threat is through. Third strikeout for the lefty. A gorgeous afternoon here in St. Louis. Boys and Girls Club of America. Place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Disappointing homestand with the big crowds. The weather has been just tremendous. And each and every day has been well over 40,000, and that's what we have here this afternoon. Hear it all the time from visiting players just how special it is to play in a city like St. Louis. There's a line drive base hit into right. Chipper Jones was talking about that, Al, over the weekend, how the fans will applaud very good plays by an opposing player or pitcher has done something special. I'll never forget Randy Johnson in his way on his way to 300 wins, had tremendous outing here in St. Louis, and fans knew it was probably the last time you'd see the likes of Randy Johnson. Standing ovation as he left with a lead against the opposition, which happened to be the home team.
Well, they want to see the Cardinals win, but they can appreciate the excellence.
Loesch has a chance to get the lead man out there onto first, not in time. After the base hit by Barney, he's erased on a force play at second. That snapped a string of 10 straight.
Good hustle right there. Fires a strike to Raphael. Flat-footed. Took him a little extra time to get that throw and maybe keep Maholm on the base pass, wear him out a little bit. But Cardinal fans are recognized by all of baseball as the best. And just as I said, they recognize the athleticism and excellence by the visiting players, but they always want to see their team win.
Turn now to our trivia question presented by AT&T. Which current Cub holds the 5th highest average against St. Louis among active players?
I know who this is. He's at the plate, and he's 1 for 2 on the day.
Saw him wearing the Kansas City Royals uniform. Saw him a lot in interleague play. Parts of 9 seasons in that organization. Last year he was with Oakland, and this has turned out to be a very cost-effective signing. First signing for Theo and Jed at the helm of the Chicago Cubs. The idea was, Al, we know it's rebuilding, so if we know that, let's give some young players a chance, like a LaHare, and let's not overspend for free agents if we're not going to win the division and get into postseason play. But veterans that know how to play it right. How about that? Second time that Carpenter has done that this afternoon. Steps on the bag, and it turns into a double play. We're midway through 5. Tied up at 3. Busch World Series Championship Collectors Beers Time. That'll be that Friday night against the Phillies. We're telling you about discounted tickets for that night. Just log on to Cardinals.com to find out more about that. That's part of that dynamic deal of the week. And this week, it's with the Phillies, and that Friday night seats as low as $12.
Time to get some runs. I think Mahalam has done is during his 4-game winning streak is go deep into ball games.
Top of the lineup, Rafael Furcal. He's driven in a run today. Three game, home half of the fifth, and that is taken low.
Mahalam has tossed at least 6 innings, and this is the first time he's allowed more than 1 or no runs in those 4-game winning streak. Mahalam is the first Cubs lefty to produce 4 straight starts with at least 6 innings pitched, 1 or no runs in the last 43 years.
2-1 the count on Furcal.
St. Louis and Ken Holtzman had done the trick back in May of 1969.
Seen some pretty big swings from your leadoff man today, Rafael Furcal, haven't we?
Well, when he bats right-handed, he thinks he's a power hitter. His only 2 home runs have come batting right-handed. That's his natural side, and he likes to swing the bat. See?
He had 7 home runs in 50 games last year, which surprised many.
5 of them were against Milwaukee, I think.
2 good shortstops in this series with Castro and Furcal. 2 difference makers. 2-2 pitch. Checks the plate, hits it out of play.
Stopped his 12-game hitting streak last night. 0 for 2 today. Did pick up his 17th RBI. But we want him the table setter right now.
Two is hit to short, deep in the hole. Castro showing off the arm. Even hesitated just a bit to gather himself and make that play. And he does have a very strong arm. What's on tap? We head to San Francisco. Bumgarner 5-2 against Garcia, who's 2-2, and will come your way 8:30 St. Louis time. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. I would imagine there'd be some mixed emotions for Mike Matheny going back to San Francisco, where his career came to a close, and his final game was May 31st of 2006, and since that time he's been through a whole battery of tests because of concussions. Symptom free, by the way, since 2008. Concussions have been in the news, especially with the NFL. But they figured out in San Francisco, the medical team went back and looked at as much film as they could on Mike Matheny. And they figured early in 2006 there were 6 foul tips off his mask. And by his and their count, he had as many as 25 concussions as a catcher in his career, going back to his college days, minor league, pro. And what's happened because of extensive research, and it's been talked about, Al, as you well know, a lot in hockey and in football, but not as much in non-contact sports like baseball. But MLB went last year with a 7-day disable list. It was instituted last year specifically for head injuries. And every player now does have baseline mental tests during spring training. So they're trying to take care of these catchers, or if there's been a collision, but they want to make sure that there's no long-term effects with concussions. And it can be really scary. We've seen some of the football players that we know. I know a hockey player very well that's been dealing with concussions, and it's something as bad as, you know, first of all, they lose a ton of weight because they're not working out, but then they're light sensitive, so you're not leaving rooms, and you know, it's a situation where they're constantly dizzy, headaches, balance issues. And Mike was asked about that on our most recent road trip, and he said, all I can tell you is from what I've been through, my heart goes out to all these football players that we're hearing about now. He said, I had it for a couple of years, the symptoms and the ill effects of concussions. He said, I can only imagine. I just can't imagine what these guys are going through with the physical contact that they put their bodies through playing in the NFL. LaHare lets it go, and Schumacher is out at first. Mahalam covering the bag.
And you think about the evolution of the turf too, how much better it is and more spongy. But then you think about the old days, the old AstroTurf, the original turf that they had at the old Busch Stadium, and you see how close it was, but clearly out.
Well, it's a great point, because he even mentioned guys that are in collisions. He said, you think about the impact of the hit between the two players. You don't think about when the catcher is going backwards and hits his head on the dirt or the turf.
Well, and you used to think, you know, most of the time at foul tips it was almost like a whiplash effect, but Jim Edmonds suffered from,
that's right,
some concussion syndromes, you know, banging into the turf, you know, on catching, playing the outfield. So it can happen any place in the field.
Left center, and the Cardinals have the lead. I would say there is no doubt about that one. Matt Holliday has given the Cardinals a lead with his 7th home run.
24th RBI. Tied with Beltran coming in today with the most game-winning RBIs. He may take the lead with that one. Matt's second hit. Dances before the game, the receiving lines on home runs, so much more colorful than the old days.
I like the receiving line. I'm a fan.
I have no problem with either one.
Just right down the line, you get your high five right down the line. Boom, 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 boom.
Matt Holliday today has as many hits as he had in the homestand. He was 2 for 13, and he was a hot hitter coming off the road trip. Mazda brings you that pretty swing as he just follows through and just muscles the ball out of here. Maybe somebody as strong, but nobody stronger.
1-1 pitch to Craig. You see a pretty swing, Al, and then you look at the forearms and the muscles. It's a violent, vicious swing.
Yeah, very much so. Is many times he just powers the ball through the infield on the ground and picks up that leg and just gives it a whack. Goes down, kind of gets it, lifts it. That ball would have cleared the bullpen. Over the bullpen, but there's a section to the right of it.
2-2 the count on Alan Craig.
When we saw Alan Craig, we kind of wondered, would he be able to hit at this level? He hit at every level in the minor leagues, but when we first saw him, he really wrapped the bat towards the pitcher, and they've kind of modified that a little bit. It's not as pronounced. And he has shown that he can hit at this level.
Draws a 2-out walk. In steps David Freese.
David originally not in the lineup today. He wanted to be in. Mike Matheny just thought that, he needed a day off, kind of little nagging little things here and there. He was 0 for 11 on the homestand. So now he's 0 for 13. But then Berkman was a late scratch.
Freese is grounded out to second. And also hit a rocket to short for 6-4-3 double play. Lots of room to that right side. We've talked about it so many times. Just how good he is going to the opposite field. And yet the second baseman is towards the bag at second, which paid off earlier.
Oh, what they're by this defense is telling you that if he hits the ball in the outfield, they kind of believe he'll hit it towards right center. If he hits the ball in the infield, he's probably going to pull it.
One ball, one strike. See David's eyes light up at 74 miles an hour.
Yeah, it just looked like a pretty good pitch to hit.
It's a look by inning what Mahalam has done. 88 pitches. He's not due up for a while for Dale Swain in this lineup. Real big key for this team and any team is to stay healthy, but Cardinals with Berkman, Beltran, and Freese, who has never played more than 100 games. Those big three have to stay healthy. The 2-2 instead of check on the runner at first, and that's Alan Craig.
Injuries are a part of the game, but you're absolutely right. It's very difficult to have your core players miss extended period of time and win. And when they do get Carpenter back, and be probably second half, it'll be like a big trade, big shot in the arm.
Freese strikes out, 4 on the afternoon for Mahalam. And Matt Holliday has given the Cardinals their first lead of the afternoon. St. Louis 4, Chicago 3 from Busch Stadium. Voices with Carlos Beltran. Look at Carlos and his first season in St. Louis. That's tomorrow at 8:30 on the pregame show. Matt Holliday has given the Cardinals their first lead in this series. Redbirds lead it by the score of 4-3. Tony Campana looks at strike one as Loesch is pitching into the top of the sixth.
Both these starters have settled down. The way it started this ball game, Kyle gave up 5 hits for the first 6 batters, scored 3 runs, and only 1 hit since then. And now he's got a 1-run lead. Last 2 starts, Kyle's only gone 5 innings. Last time, a little bit of an excuse because of the hamstring.
Doesn't seem to be an issue at all today.
We just hope that he's only at 66 pitches. How about that? So should be able to go a few more innings. And if you do that, things fall into place.
Nearly a third of those coming in the first frame. 21 first inning pitches for Kyle Loesch, and that's when Chicago picked up their 3 runs.
And you saw there was 36 in the first 2 innings.
One point, he set down 10 straight. Campana making him work.
Last 7 games, you can see the starters only thrown 38 innings and allowed 18 runs. Bullpen 27 innings, too many innings, and they really haven't done their job as they've allowed 20.
Late on that swing, a strikeout for Kyle Loesch.
Swing and a miss. You see he kind of worked the count up, worked the ball up on him. So bringing this, where you got to like a guy like Campana, who not very big, so you want him to hit the ball in the air. Throw the ball up in the zone where he has a tendency to get fly balls, and he won't hit it out.
Big cut by Starlin Castro.
Since last season, Castro has 73 multi-hit games. Tops in the National League. Last year he led the league in hits.
Oh, and he's hit by the pitch. That got away from Loesch. And did it hit the bat? He'll afford to lose Starlin Castro.
He hit the bat. He's not going to first base. Mark O'Neill. How did that get through there? And between the bat and still kind of almost on his shoulders, right underneath his chin, and hit the bat.
0-2 the count on Starlin Castro with 1 out, nobody on. The Cardinals on top by the score of 4-3. Cubs saw a very scary situation last year. Marlon Byrd was hit by a pitch on his cheek, fractured numerous bones around the eye, and you would have to think in old times, Al, trying to come back from something like that, you'd be gun shy, but give Byrd credit. His numbers outside of this year were pretty good when he came back.
Well, Dan, when you kind of looked at that replay right there, the only way you really get hit in the face or the head is when you freeze, and he did not show the instincts of getting out of the way, and that's where a lot of young players don't know how to get out of the way of an inside pitch, spin away from it. Every pitcher has to deal with the fact that, yeah, you can throw a ball and you could permanently do damage or even induce death. The way I always dealt with it is they're hitting a rocket right back at me. More chances I'm going to get hit than I'm going to hit them.
Back-to-back strikeouts.
After that pitch, his heart really wasn't in the swinging, was it?
Not at all. It goes back to the point of when you pitch inside and you establish that you are willing to go inside, it sets up off-speed pitches and sliders on the outside corner.
No doubt about it. Bob Gibson, great intimidator. He pitched inside to get you out of the way. He wasn't really throwing many strikes inside at all, especially late in the ball game where a home run could beat you. But he pitched inside to get you off the plate so he could throw a slider away to strike you out.
Great Bob Gibson was in the house on Friday night. Tony La Russa's ceremony, and this is hit high, deep to center. Schumacher back, and it's gone. We are tied up. Leher has done it again. A solo home run.
10 home runs to lead all Major League first basemen in home runs, and 5 of the 10 have been hit against Cardinal pitching. He had 38 last year, 109 RBIs, and a .331 batting average at AAA Iowa. And look at him go down and get it. Of course, a lot of times lefties are low ball hitters. He hit it over the center field wall, so he earned it. It's only the 4th home run that Loesch has allowed this year.
First time we saw the Chicago Cubs out, we talked about the bat of Alfonso Soriano. 35 inches, 33 ounces. Skinny handle, full-size barrel. And Dale Swain this past week asked that he reduce the weight in that bat to try to get around on pitches a little bit better, and he pops out here. And he's done that for the first time in a long time. So this season, Brian Leher, 5 home runs against the Cardinals. Against everybody else, he's got 5 as well. Tied up at 4. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by the state of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Just across the river, the shots of downtown St. Louis, and we're tied up 4-4, and here's Molina. Activity in the Chicago bullpen. Right-hander getting loose. No activity for St. Louis. And
Casey Coleman.
Al, last night we saw the return of Eduardo Sanchez. And
want to see more of him.
Yeah, it seemed to be that his mechanics were straightened out. He was throwing strikes, that tight slider. And there's a look at Coleman getting loose for the Cubs.
Casey Coleman, Joe Coleman, former pitching coach for Joe Torre and the Cardinals. Joe, a very successful major league career. Sun warming up.
Backhanded. Oh, what a play from his knees. Ian Stewart takes an extra base hit away from Yadier Molina. What a fine play that is.
Sure was. See, not as close to the line, but he dives, smothers the ball, and strong throw, and Yadi hustling all the way. It's Rob.
Matt Carpenter hit one to the wall last time up. Catch made by Campana in center. Tied up 4-4 in the home half of the sixth.
National League rookies in RBIs. And a lot of those RBIs have come here at home. Carpenter has 11 of his 17 RBIs have been hit here at home.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Six pitches for Mahalam. That's why Coleman is warming up.
And he waves at it and strikes out. Krispy Kreme doesn't deal if the Cardinals get 9 hits today. They're at 7. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. You'll receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal.
We appreciate Krispy Kreme and delivering a couple dozen donuts up here for Jim Hayes.
He was all over, wasn't he?
He ate 18 of them last count.
Tyler Green, pair of hits, 2 for 2. One ball, 1 strike.
Holmes kept a lot of the hitters a little bit off balance. They're kind of jumping at the hitter a little bit, changing speeds better than I remember.
You are in agreement with me in the fact that doesn't seem to be as long in his delivery to the plate.
Well, it's really kind of short arming, which is part of the deception. And then he kind of like hides the ball, and then he kind of jumps at the hitter a little bit, but with command. Yeah, he kind of turns there, and you don't really see the release point, and it kind of rushes towards the plate, and the ball sneaks up on you a little bit. Some guys can throw 96 and it looks like 86. Some guys will throw 89 and it looks like 95.
Count runs full on Tyler Green. Takes a ball, and he's on base for the third consecutive time.
Third walk.
If there was anybody else outside of Kyle Lohse, as the pitch count is at 103, you might think about having Tyler steal the bag, but pitcher up, I'm not so sure you're going to see Mike Matheny do that.
Possibility, because get into scoring position. There are 2 outs, and Kyle go out there and pitch another inning, and then possibly you pinch hit for him. Kyle's a much better athlete than the way he's swinging right now.
Yeah, he sacrificed first time up perfectly, and then struck out swinging in the 4th.
He's got to be talking to himself.
Big gap in left center field. Good speed at first and Green, and another check on him. Phillies lead Houston 3-1. That's in the bottom of the 8th. San Diego on top of Washington 6-1, top of the 8th. Cleveland all over Minnesota 5-0. White Sox lead Detroit 4-0. That's in the 4th. Everything else later this afternoon or tonight. Ground ball and a tough play for Stewart on the short hop, and he makes it. He took a hit away from Molina, and a fine play to end the 6th. Reverse recap. Lohse pitching now into the 7th inning. Matt Holliday, a solo home run. That was in the 5th for Holliday, his 7th of the year, to give the Cardinals a 4-3 lead. And then LaHare, his 5th home run against the Cardinals this year, and his 10th overall to tie it up at 4-4. And that's where we stand right now.
Not surprising, though, that 10 leads all major league first basemen.
I think it's a corner spot. Usually the league leaders are first baseman, third baseman sometimes. Nothing in 2, the count on Ian Stewart. Cardinals may catch a break over the weekend in LA with Matt Kemp.
DL.
Dealing with a leg issue.
That is consecutive game streak stopped last night. What was it, 299 thereabouts?
May have been 399.
Well, you're right.
Green makes the play.
399.
Should be fun to see what the new ownership group, as we talk to those that follow that team, to see what they have in store for the Dodgers. Historic franchise.
Magic Johnson pretty excited about it. Known Stan Kasten for many years. You just saw Sepchinski warming up. I don't think Loesch is going to need him this inning.
Ground ball to the right side, and Castillo is put away by Carpenter. 2 outs. It's a mild strain of the left hamstring for Matt Kemp.
Slider hits it right off the end of the bat. Little dribbler to first. Another quick inning. He's got 2 outs, facing the 8th place hitter, and only 86 pitches thrown.
Two outs, 4-4 game. Here's Darwin Barney. 7th round pick out of Oregon State. It was this time last year he was on his way to 90 hits before the All-Star game. And he lines it down the right field line fair. Played off the sidewall. And Barney is in with a 2-out double.
Reed Johnson will pinch hit from Mahala. Fastball and outer half goes with the pitch. Barney 2 for 3, and as I said, extends the inning, puts himself in scoring position for the pinch hitter Reed Johnson.
Second stint for Reed Johnson with the Chicago Cubs. First pitch is strike. Right-hander Kerry Wood getting loose. Mahalam 106 pitches, 69 were strikes. Johnson is 2 for 9 as a pinch hitter this year. And the 0-1 pitch. Line drive, it's a base hit into center. Barney being waved in. The throw by Schumacher. Not in time. And Johnson, with a throw going through, winds up at second base, and the Cubs have regained the lead, 5-4.
Reed Johnson, who had pinch hit home run the other day, Sunday, give them the lead. Now he comes through here, base hit up the middle. Schumacher keeps the ball down, but nobody cuts it off, and so Reed Johnson's able to go trade places with Barney. They'll score the go-ahead run, making it 5-4, and then Reed Johnson, the single and RBI, gets out to second.
And Sunday, May 27th, first 25,000 fans 16 and older take home the Post-Dispatch poster. Front pages of the various big games throughout the year. Collection on one poster. Mark Zebchinski is our Chevy call to the pen, and the lefty takes over. Cardinals now are down by the score of 5-4.
Chevy call to the bullpen as Zebchinski comes in. He escaped the leadoff double for a scoreless inning on Sunday. Appearing for the 16th time, deuce and a quarter ERA. 12 innings, 8 hits allowed. 4+ strikeout to walk ratio. Facing De Jesus, who has about 1 for 3 this game. That's about what he hits against the Cardinals. .333.
Foul ball off his foot. De Jesus, a single and a run scored in the first inning. Fly to left. And also grounded out into a double play.
Lefties hit 163 against Zebchinski. A lone lefty in the bullpen now that J.C. Romero is released.
Cardinals feel they can cover that with Kyle McClellan, also Marte.
Even saw Sanchez, whose numbers against lefties were pretty good too, but that'd do you a lot of good if you carry another left-handed pitcher if they can't get lefties out.
Two and two. We've seen that Zebchinski is as good as anybody else in baseball from the left side and being that lefty specialist, but also facing right-handed hitters. He gives Mike Matheny the luxury that if you do stack a righty against him or go left, right, left, he's able to get that middleman and stay in the game.
Yeah, it's very important and makes him that much more valuable.
3-1 pitch to De Jesus. 3-2.
J.C. Romero would be a very refreshing, nice young man. Very could make excuses or anything, but just wasn't getting the lefties out, and we hope he gets picked up elsewhere.
Results-driven business.
Yep.
Slowly hit to the right side, and stepping on the bag, it's Carpenter. Redbirds have the top of the lineup coming up. It's time to stretch. Day baseball and 5-4. authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Call to the bullpen. Still going. That's Kerry Wood. Brought to you by Chevy. Kerry Wood, we've seen him as a starter. We've seen him as a closer. Wants to be with the Cubs, win, lose, or draw. I mean, he's made that very clear. He's made a ton of money, but he loves pitching in the city of Chicago and for the Cubs.
Yeah, his 12th major league season with the Cubs, including his second year and in his second stint with the team. Originally selected by the Cubs in the first round of the 1995 draft. 0-2 ERA over 850. Been on the disabled list with right shoulder fatigue. And he's allowed runs in 3 of his 8 relief appearances.
And Kerry Wood saying that his shoulder is sound. It feels great. That's what's been frustrating. Bounce back from an injection. Threw his hat and glove into the stands a week ago after he gave up a 2-run homer to Dan Uggla. And eventually they lost against the Braves 3-1. He was not disciplined for doing that. Some thought he might be. Nowhere near the plate. And Rakal is aboard. 1998, known as the year of the home run. What about this? Kerry Wood bursting on the scene against the Houston Astros, May 6th, 1998. Young, fresh face of Kerry Wood, and he is throwing smoke. 20 strikeouts that afternoon at Wrigley Field, and the devastating slider as well.
Bagwell, Lou.
Look at that. I mean, that's just nasty.
It's not only the fastball, but it's that breaking ball, too.
Yeah, he was throwing consistently 97, 98. Then you mix in a hard slider and the big bender like that. Schumacher wasn't bunting in that spot, and he didn't take a pitch after 4 straight balls. Some believe that you don't worry about that, and that if you get a pitch to hit against a guy like Kerry Wood, who still can be very tough, you get after it.
Yeah, they're kind of throwing the old rules out. The rules that Jack Buck taught so many of the Cardinal fans is when you're down late in a ball game, you take a strike. But the theory is now that maybe the first pitch you see in the strike zone may be your best option.
Tony La Russa was a big believer in that.
Well, I'm a big believer that if you're patient, you will get a pitch to hit. And it only stands to reason if you swing at the first pitch, you're cutting down that percentage.
A lot of concern right now with Kerry Wood from the Cubs' perspective, and the fact that he does this a lot. He's pitching behind in counts, and he doesn't have the kind of stuff that he did. The video that you just saw, not many do. But they feel when healthy, when right, he can still be very effective coming out of their bullpen.
Just looking at his last 3 appearances, coming 4 innings, he's got 5 walks and only 1 strikeout.
2-1.
Still has swing and miss stuff. Breaking ball there, and 90 miles an hour slider. It's 3rd in the Cubs franchise in strikeouts, only behind Fergie Jenkins and Carlos Zambrano.
That's strike 2. They were so close with Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor getting into the World Series.
2 electric arms, and to just kind of get a chuckle when they said, oh, Mark Pryor, perfect mechanics, he'll never hurt his arm. Perfect mechanics. No such thing. kind of wonder here is, you mentioned he doesn't throw with that 97, 98 anymore, and maybe lost a little confidence in that fastball, as it looks like Castillo's trying to get him to throw it, and he's shaking it off. And the more breaking balls you throw, the better chance you got to speed up the bat or hang one.
Here's a 2-2 pitch to Holiday. Breaking ball. Previous regime absolutely loved Kerry Wood. Fan base loves Kerry Wood in Chicago for the most part. And he has embraced that, but you have new ownership, new management. And as we mentioned, it is a results-driven business.
Well, you can still look at his arm strength and say he can be a very helpful.
That pitch right there, that was going against Matt Holliday, it seemed like, for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Oh, I totally agree with you, Dan. And I think it had an effect on Matt where his eye, you know, you train yourself to know the strike zone, and kept on getting rung up on what we thought were a lot of pitches that were out of the strike zone. And it all started with the game one in Miami. And I'm kind of trying to remember, but I thought it was Rapiano that was behind the plate that game, who's behind the plate here today. So good to see Matt trust the eyes again and take the walk.
Chance here for Alan Craig. No activity for the Cubs in their bullpen despite the 2 walks and the lack of control by Kerry Wood in his past few outings.
That's temporary. There's activity now. Looks like Russell's getting up. And right now, Alan Craig needs to do something for this matchup. There's James Russell.
Known as Kid K when he first came up, Kerry Wood. That's a base hit into right. This game is tied. Alan Craig does it again. He drives him in. That's for Kyle. And it's 5-5 here in the 7th.
Second RBI of the game for Alan Craig. He's up to 18.
This will be our Nissan drive of the game. Alan Craig on base 4 times to go along with those 3 hits and a walk.
Alan Craig's average up to .413. Now we got to get David Freese. 0 for 3 today. Is hitless on the homestand, so a good way to break out.
Broken bat past Kerry Wood, and it's a double play. Freese slams down his helmet. Craig ties it up. Sports Update. So his second home run in as many days.
See how long they go with Zebchinski as the only lefty in the bullpen.
5-5 game here in the top of the 8th, and Tony Campana.
So important to keep him off the bases.
Strasburg trying to come back from Tommy John like we see with Adam Wainwright. More months under his belt as opposed to Adam. What happens, though, Al, if you're Washington and you're in a pennant race, which you would think they will be, 22-13, leading Atlanta by a half game in the National League East, and they have publicly stated prior to the season they only want Strasburg to throw no more than 150 innings.
I've heard Mike Rizzo is already kind of backing off that, and I know Davey Johnson isn't going to. What do you mean? But that is an interesting dilemma. They find themselves late in the season in a pennant race.
Zebchinski steps and throws 95-mile-an-hour sinker over to Carpenter.
That was his best pitch right there.
Crowd today of 45,538. 4-5-5-3-8.
There's that best fastball he threw to Carpenter, and they got a first baseman going there expecting something chest high. Now Campana is fast, but he's not that fast.
Here's Starlin Castro with 1 out, nobody on, and Starlin is 1 for 3. RBI single back in the first inning. Liner backhanded by Green, 2 away. Cardinals will have Molina, Carpenter, and Green coming up. Looking ahead to the home half of the 8th. Cardinals in San Francisco tomorrow night. Will come your way 8:30 St. Louis time.
Here's what you were talking about with Zebchinski. He come in to get the 2 lefties. Then their best hitter is Castro. You leave him in to stay with him. And LaHare, somebody's got to restore a little order and get him back under control, as he's hit 5 home runs against the Cardinals already this year.
Carpenter is there. He'll take it himself. Nice work by Mark Zebchinski yet again out of the bullpen. We're tied up 5-5 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. All is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Live Mas. There's James Russell, and he's been outstanding. Coming from the bullpen of the Chicago Cubs. ERA of .63. 14 and a third innings. He gets Molina, Carpenter, and Green. Then Zipchinski's spot is up.
Derek Wilkes, Mike Matheny looking on. Jason Mott begins to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. Hard to believe that Zipchinski would go back out, being the only left-hander out there, but what a job. And most importantly for Mike Matheny is he did it in very efficient fashion, about 15 pitches for his four outs. Let's get a lead for Mott.
Numbers on James Russell. Here's Yadier Molina. His average has dipped to under 300. He's at 298. 0 for 2 with a walk. Pulls one foul. One ball, one strike. Over 45,000 here today. What a crowd for a Tuesday afternoon.
Talked about last night how Houston said they will not have day games during the week because you can't draw. Once again, Cardinal fans prove everybody wrong.
Strikeout of Yachty. One away in the home half of the 8th.
Good breaking ball right there. He doesn't throw kind of sneaky fast once again. Just really 88, 89 miles an hour, but good breaking ball and pitching with a lot of confidence.
James Russell was asked about the chance of closing, and he said it all depends on looking at the lineup card, and this is hammered. Will it carry? It is out of here! Carpenter has given the Cardinals a lead.
One to the wall earlier, and once again a left-handed pitcher that he hangs in there and goes down the receiving line. Third home run, 18th RBI, and will it be a game winner?
Will it be a curtain call?
Yeah, I think so. They want one. The fans do. It's a little pressure on a rookie, though. You almost have to ask permission from the veterans.
422 feet, the distance of the home run for Matt Carpenter. Here's the 0-1 pitch now to Green. Cardinals lead at 6-5. Green with a base hit down into the corner. He'll dig for 2. Dug out by Soriano, but he's wasting his time. Green is flying into third.
Third hit, 4th time on base. Tyler Green only misses the home run for the cycle. See that athleticism?
Al, you got to wonder if something is not right with Soriano. We saw him on a double that could have been a triple for him, and how he was running the bases. And on this play, very, very casual. And either he doesn't know about the speed of Green, or maybe he's hurt. But either way, that should be a double.
Probably a combination of it, but you're right. In a very close game, a one-run game, You really don't want your left fielder kind of giving an extra base right there. With one out, you put a man from second to third. Second thing I talk strategy is no righties warming up. How about the catcher on Carpenter's drive out into right center? You think Castillo knew that this game was no longer tied, set up away, and look at that ball right back over the middle, and watch Castillo going, oh my goodness. Usually, you know, you don't second guess pitch selection, but you can really see most of the time it's an error in location.
And now you get the reigning National League Player of the Week. The crowd is in it. They'll walk Beltran here. Infield is drawn in. Furcal is on deck, and this crowd letting Russell and the Cubs know about it. They want to see Beltran swing away. I was about to say before that home run, Dale Swaim and Russell pretty much know who could close out the game before the first game of a series. If there's a lot of lefties in the lineup, you're going to see Russell be a 7th or 8th inning guy. DeLeese would be your closer. In this case, Swaim bringing him in a tie ball game in the bottom of the 8th, and Carpenter connects with the home run.
Is that for call? Now you got a pinch runner for Beltran is Robinson, who is just recalled to take the spot of John Jay, who's put on the disabled list. Shane Robinson there. Oquendo comes down to talk to Furcal. You got great speed at third base. You have to think of the possibility of a squeeze. The Cubs are alert to it.
One out and runners at the corners. There it is. It's hit in the air, but foul.
Comes on down the line, but Ralphie pops the ball just bad enough that
really you catch a break.
Yeah.
Runner has scored 3 out of 5 times for the Cardinal leadoff man in this spot. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Furcal. Check swing. Thinking about Tyler Green here, Al, and you know he comes in 1 for his last 19, and then he has an afternoon like this, and you wonder why there isn't more consistency of his game put together. I mean, he just tantalizes you with the talent that he's got.
Maybe it's day games. The Houston game was a day game.
0-2 is hit to third. Stewart comes home. Now Green has to stay in the rundown if he can. He does. That allows the runners to advance to second and third.
Yep. Went on contact and did his job. Stayed in it long enough. Both the runners advance into scoring position. So not much he can do, but he did the right thing.
Now they'll pull back Schumacher. Nobody getting loose in the bullpen for the Cubs. So instead of having that lefty-lefty matchup, Mike Matheny pulling back Schumacher, and here is Shane Robinson.
I'm sorry, that's Scalzo that pinch ran.
Jason Mott, the Cardinals closer. It's been a while since we've seen him have a shot here at home to finish off a game and pick up a save.
Shane Robinson was given Mother's Day to stay here with his wife and new daughter. Did play one game at Memphis, and he made an impact, 3 for 4.
Ball scoots away, and Runners will stay put again.
Crossed him up. A runner out at second base and looking for an off-speed pitch. Steele was an all-star last year in Pacific Coast League, so he and Robinson familiar with each other.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Shane Robinson. So 2 big runs out there at second and third.
Jesus, pretty good throwing arm in right field. Have to think 2 runs and a base hit.
Good cut. We've seen that despite his size, he's not a punch and Judy. I mean, he's a guy that takes a very healthy cut.
High ball hitter. And now with truly a base hit to the outfield, will score 2. They're not paying any attention for call. And with 2 outs, 2 strikes, he sees Robinson start to swing. He can take off.
1-2 pitch. Robinson, fly ball into right, and it carries for an out. But Matt Carpenter has given Mike Matheny and the Cardinals a lead of 6-5. Mott coming in.
At Busch Stadium, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Al Raboski will do the honors. They'll break down Kyle Loesch's afternoon. A look inside the numbers for the entire starting rotation, plus another installment of Mic'd Up. Jason Mott on to close the show for the Cardinals. We head back to the booth, and Dan and Al, guys.
All right. Thank you, Jim. This time last year, Jason Mott had not recorded a save, did not record a save until after the All-Star break. He's 6 of 7 this season, ERA of 1.98. Those 6 saves tied for 9th in the National League. The first hitter will be Alfonso Soriano, and the Cardinals are in desperate need of a win here today to salvage a game on this homestand, split the series with Chicago as they work on the equipment of Yadier Molina. Saw Mott go 2 innings on Friday night. They were scoreless. That was his longest appearance of this 2012 campaign. It'll be Soriano, Stewart, Castillo due up.
Mott probably needed work today either way, but all the more important, now he comes in with a chance to pick up the save.
He's 2 for 9, 5 strikeouts. Soriano mentioned in the previous at bat that he is taking a lighter bat to the plate for the first time in years, and he hits a high fly ball out to deep right. Did he do it? He has. It's tied up. Alfonso Soriano, his first home run of the year.
If you would have had the heavier bat, it would have carried to center field and been a can of corn.
Cubs have been waiting for this, to see him go deep.
High fastball, he knew it.
Cardinals in the bottom of the ninth will have Holiday, Craig, and Freeze. Now Mott has to regain his composure. 402 feet distance of the home run. Here's Stewart. Ian Stewart hitting just 207. Pair of groundouts today. He's also singled.
Dolis warming up for the Cubs. He's their de facto closer now.
Left field, Holiday. Two blown saves for Mott this year. Both have been against the Chicago Cubs. The other was against Joe Mather. Those two were teammates in the Cardinals minor league system, and Mather singled up the middle for a base hit that won the game.
Early in my career, I hung out a lot on the road with Tim McCarver, particularly when Joe Torre was at home in New York, and McCarver would he'd slum, hang down with me, and the first time I faced McCarver, I had great respect for him. The first time I faced him, he got a base hit off me, and I learned real quick, friendship ends when they change uniforms.
Now more than ever that happens. Free agency so prevalent.
I kind of felt like I just didn't have the same intensity against a guy that you considered a good friend, and I learned real quick that as Bob Gibson would say, you can do those camaraderie and stuff after a game, but once the game's on, that's the enemy.
And that is a ball inside and a walk to Castillo.
Something Mott usually doesn't do, for a guy that throws as hard as he does, and the former catcher really has very good control.
Darwin Barney with one out and a runner at first. Oh, 0-2. Beautiful crowd on hand as far as the numbers, the weather, sights and sounds, Cards and Cubs.
Barney's done a nice job batting the 8th spot. Line drive, shortstop first time up, 2 base hits. Not always easy to hit in that 8th hole with the pitcher on deck.
Look back at so many things that take place in a game. Well, just moments ago, the Cardinals had Tyler Green at third base, only 1 out, couldn't bring him in. Here's a ground ball to Freeze. Tagged by Carpenter, and the out. Nice play on both ends.
David throwing on the run. Committed his first error last night. A little bit up the line, but Carpenter vacates the bag. And a little gentle tag on the top of the head and knocks him down.
This is Cardenas, who was just called up over the weekend for the Cubs. Be the pinch hitter. Quick scout report here by Derek Lilliquist, and they'll go right at him.
Cardenas at Iowa was hitting .319 with 7 doubles, 3 triples, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs in 26 games. His first major league hit was a double on Saturday. He was claimed off of waivers by Chicago from Oakland in February.
High fly ball into center. Big bats coming up for St. Louis. Holiday, Craig, and Freeze were all tied up at 6. Ten hits aside, no errors. The Cardinals have stranded 8. Can Holiday do it again? He did it earlier this afternoon with that home run. A long one into the seats in left center. Rafael Dolis out of the Dominican Republic. New pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Began his professional career in 2006. Did not pitch in 2008. And he made the Cubs opening day roster here in 2012. And right now, with Carlos Marmol out with a leg injury and on the DL, it's Dolis along with Russell that have gotten the save opportunities.
Dolis has 4 saves. Opponents are batting .192 against him. And he picked up a save last night, retiring the side in order with a couple strikeouts.
2009, the last walk-off home run against the Chicago Cubs. It's a remarkable finish to that season by Holiday. Then would become a free agent.
And partner, I remember your call of that one. Welcome to the Cubs rivalry.
Oh,
Cardinal-Cub rivalry.
Yeah, that's right. 2009 team was a very good team that made it to postseason play. And you wonder if Holiday made a catch against the Dodgers, if there would have been a different ending to that season.
Lost that ball in the lights at Dodger Stadium, and
there's a rocket into center field.
3 hits and a walk. That just gives you an idea how hard he hits the ball. They have a device here that measures the speed of the ball coming off the bat, and they just say Matt Holliday, his number is off the charts, right back up the middle. Good thing that inning hit Dolis or Barney.
Dolis came in to close the game out yesterday. Struck out Schumacher. Beltran would pop out, and then Furcal struck out to end the game.
No contest, wasn't it?
Very quickly, it was a save for Dolis, a win for the Cubs. He did warm up on Sunday, so 3 days in a row he stepped on a mound, and 2 days of live action now. 1 ball, 1 strike. See the pine tar rubbing against the white jersey, leaving the mark near the S and the Cardinals, then on the backside of the jersey. Here's a 1-1.
You have good control. That's where you want to throw the ball up and in to a hitter like Craig, but do you have enough command that you can get it there and not leave it over the middle of the plate? 3 for 3, also a walk, .413 average.
1-2 pitch. You don't think in terms of Matt Holliday stealing a bag. Did have 28 one year. 2008 with St. Louis. He's had a total of 10.
28, huh?
Back in 2008.
I find that surprising.
Next year it dropped to 12, and then he had 2 with the Cardinals, 63 games. And last season just 2. Only attempted 3. David Freese has had a tough homestand and a lot of double plays. Average down to 274. He could end it with 1 swing of the bat. And he takes ball 1.
Just a 5-game homestand, but David is 0 for the homestand, 0 for 15. And very deep.
.1-0 pitch to Freese. He was trying to end it with 1 swing, it looked like. 95 from Dolis.
Like Dolis's 95. It's a lot faster.
Freese could send 45,000 plus home happy today. The 1-1. Ground ball backhanded by Stewart across the diamond. He got him. His second outstanding play defensively in this ball game. And you never know, Al, that may have saved the game too.
I think it would, especially how far Soriano is off the line. That ball gets down in the corner,
And Holiday, she said, once he gets ahead of steam going, he's do it. But diving for the ball here, had trouble getting it out of his glove. Only playing a bang play, but Freeze clearly was out. He was chugging hard all the way.
Molina could win it. Holiday in scoring position. Dolis has been bothered by a stiff back the last couple of days. Gave up the game-tying home run in their marathon game to Corey Hart and the Brewers. As I mentioned, he warmed up Sunday. He pitched here yesterday. And now trying to send us to the 10th. Fans on their feet, and here they come. Chance of Yachty here at the ballpark. Strike one. Carpenter on deck.
Yachty, a couple strikeouts already in this game. It'd be extremely rare just to have two, let alone the possibility of a third.
One pitch inside. This is where a lot of times you'll see a pitcher. We used to see it a lot with Albert, but they pitch inside and back Molina off the plate. And then he's ready for that next pitch, and he just smokes it either up the middle or to right center. He knows and senses maybe that they try to go outside with him.
Benefit of being able to call a game, read the mind of his counterpart or the pitcher.
One pitch on its way. Molina, base hit. Can he do it? Yes. Hits into right. Here comes Holiday. He will score. Yachty wins it 7-6.
Dan, you pretty much called it right there. After the pitch up and in, a ball away, he just takes it to the right side. But Barney slowing it down, it just guaranteed that Holiday would score from second base. Nice going, Yachty.
Budweiser player of the game is Yadier Molina. We've got the postgame show coming up. Yadier Molina with a base hit into right. Matt Holliday comes around with the game winner. The Cardinals salvage one game in the homestand. 7-6 our final. 45,000 plus entertaining afternoon of baseball. Glad you're with us. Post-game show with Jim and the gang coming up next.